Good afternoon, Greg Silva here. As you're looking through different feeds on the internet, Facebook, whatever, we see the importance of being able to teach benefits. A lot of kids take martial arts, not for self-defense and not for fitness, but parents come in because they're looking for some type of change. Maybe the child needs more self-confidence, self-esteem, maybe they're too active. I call this you getting a broken kid. For some reason, the parent has tried everything, that they need help, and they're coming to martial arts. They probably read someplace, saw something on TV, heard about it, but martial arts teaches kids a lot. It's great for self-esteem. It's great for perseverance. It's great for self-control. There's so many benefits to martial arts. So parents come in with a challenge, and they're looking for help to fix their kids. A lot of this just has to do with changing beliefs kids have. And again, it's all about fixing broken kids. Just want to kind of give you a little background of my experience in this area of martial arts. One, I've had at least 30 years of teaching martial arts. I actually started my school in 1973. I taught straight through to mid-90s, and then after the mid-90s was really helping other instructors enhance their skills, improve their skills in communication and in ability to change beliefs and change kids. When I had my school, kids were my specialty. In fact, when I was looking for the demographics, I ended up wanting to move to Florida. So I started looking at Florida. I found a town called Coral Springs. The unique thing about that, it was a community developed by Westinghouse in the late 60s, early 70s. It was an all-electric community. A lot of people heard about it, were moving from different areas of the country. When I moved into the town, I started looking for a location for my school. There was 65,000 people in that town. 80% were under the age of 18. Those are the people that I was looking for, so I chose that home for my martial arts school. So they really were my specialty. When I went to college, in fact, before I went to college, I was talking to my parents. I go, hey, I really want to teach martial arts. My parents said, you can do whatever you want after you finish college. So I knew I was going to probably go into martial arts after college. So my business degree was in marketing and was also in psychology because I knew I was going to do martial arts training. A lot of my influence after that came from different people, one being Bob Alexander. Bob Alexander was hired by United Professionals several times as becoming a speaker. He worked for the Zig Ziglar Corporation and developed a program called ICANN. ICANN was a values, behavior, character development program that was developed by the Zig Ziglar Corporation and introduced into the public school system throughout the United States. Bob had a great influence how I started thinking about changing the beliefs in kids. How I was able to adapt to it. His program, ICANN, was just really, really valuable as far as our mat chats, our live lessons. So I got to give Bob a lot of credit. Next would be Paul Garcia. Paul Garcia was a good friend of mine. He was a competitor. He came down and worked for me in the 1990s. He was just a phenomenal speaker and communicator. He took a lot of what Bob was teaching in the public school system and really developed it to be taught in the martial arts school. So being around Paul really gave me a lot of insight on helping kids. Another influencer in helping in my experience was Tom Callis. I remember going to an EFC meeting. This is probably in the late 80s and 90s. I'm not quite sure. But Tom had done a video on doing an intro class. And I watched that, and then they played it again, and I was just really taken in how he had a life skill lesson for every physical move in the martial arts. So every move that he was doing in the intro, whether it be a tension stance, a punch, a block, whatever, had some type of life skill lesson along with it. So if it's punch, it could be focus, but there was a lesson in life skills with every physical move. After I saw that, I go, I'm going to get really, really good at this stuff. In fact, I remember getting emotional watching the video because I could see the impact he was having on this child he was teaching. Next, when I opened my school, I was listening to a lot of Tony Robbins. I was going to a lot of his sessions. A lot of the things that I implemented in my school were direct results from learning from Tony Robbins. What I'm going to talk about today about the table of beliefs is right from his book. And this is one of the first things I learned. It was a great visual for me, learning why kids develop certain types of beliefs. Next is Anita Fischler. When I had my school in Florida, I had 3 ladies come in with their 3 kids, and they took an intro class. And they were young. I think they were maybe 4, if not quite 4. And they were just a little bit off the wall. And I had to tell these moms, I go, I want martial arts to be a positive experience in your kid's life. And right now, I think I'm going to be giving too much correction and too much reprimand. And I don't think it's going to be a positive experience. Why don't you come back after 6 months or so? We'll talk about it then. Well, I didn't know at the time, but one of the moms was a child psychiatrist or psychologist. And she did come back, and she brought her son Michael in, and Michael became a student. He went all the way through to black belt. During his journey to black belt, Anita and I, or Dr. Fischler and I, talked a lot about my program, about our testing, how I talk to kids, how the protocol for the kids. It was really changed a lot of my approach to teaching, especially when I developed the universal system for kids. Developing the Black Belt Excellence Program that's available now through Get Students, the worksheets, the mat chats, the class protocol, the class themes was all part of the development in my experience in working with kids. And then I wrote a book, and the book is called Building Students from the Inside Out, or Building Black Belts from the Inside Out. It's all about changing beliefs, confidence, self-esteem before we get into the hardcore physical training. So that's my experience, and that's where I'm coming from today. The reason I started this is I know this child, and he's in our family, doesn't live near me, but I did get a chance to visit him. And during that visit was the last day. We're driving the car, and he did something, and I go, why did you do that? And he goes, because I'm dumb. I go, you're what? He goes, I'm dumb. I go, why would you think that? He goes, I just know I'm dumb. Wow. Not only does he think it, he really believes it. And then the pattern after that is he's talking a certain way, he's acting negatively, he's expecting to see some type of repercussion from me, or he's expecting to see some type of poor results. He's creating poor expectations of what's going to happen in the future. So now he's creating bad habits. So he's almost destined to have long-lasting negative benefits. And it really concerned me because I didn't have a chance to work with, or I don't have a chance to work with him on a regular basis. I will be talking to his parents and things like that. But if this child was coming to my martial arts school, I would pretty much have a plan, and I really know I could make a big difference and change. There's a couple boxes up here. The top 4 boxes are people that seem to see failure in their life. The bottom 4 boxes are people to see success in their life. And it starts with negative beliefs. When people have negative beliefs, they have negative expectations. You know, okay, I'm dumb. Okay, this is probably going to happen. Someone's going to ask me something. I'm going to look silly, and I'm going to get it wrong anyway, and he's going to have negative expectations. Because of his negative expectations, he's going to have self-defeating behavior. So if you're going to ask him a question, he's not going to do it. If you want to participate, he's not going to participate. So, of course, he's going to have a poor outcome. Poor outcome is now another reference. So he's going to have less positive beliefs or more negative beliefs. He's going to have more negative expectations, more defeating behavior, more poor outcomes, and you can see how this is going to spiral down. Now, you take someone who's got positive beliefs. You know, I'm smart. Not I'm dumb, I'm smart. And if I do this, I'm going to have positive expectations. And we're going to be talking, and I'm going to be asking questions. I'm going to get them right. Someone's going to be saying, wow, you're so smart. So they're going to have a self-motivating behavior, maybe participating more. And maybe they do get to writing and say, oh, wow, you're really smart. And all of a sudden, now he's got more positive beliefs, more positive references. And because of this, you can see how he's going to spiral up and more good things are going to happen. Just by one of those different beliefs. One person's negative, they think they're dumb. Another person's positive, they feel they're smart. So, how can you make a difference? Man, I hated when I saw this picture. Because I don't know why people have some of these beliefs. In fact, I do know why. But to know that what you say or what you can do, the words you use are so powerful that you must use them wisely. You have control by being an adult or instructor and influencer, but a lot of times, most of the times, kids are under negative influences. So when they go to school, this again is from Zig Ziglar and Bob Alexander, 8 out of 10 inputs are negative inputs. In other words, when a kid goes to school, maybe one person goes, hey, you look really good today, and someone says, hey, you really look sharp today, and then someone's going to say, you're dumb, you dress funny, you have your haircut wrong, those are ugly sneakers, and they're going to have all kinds of negative things to say. So when a person's getting references in their mind, they're getting 8 negative references to every 2 positive references. You can imagine this is even worse on the bus. In the school, you have a teacher, things like that. If you're in the back of a school bus, there's no one there to protect you. It's probably more negative. And then you see kids acting up in TV and things are going wrong. All things on TV, it's not all these positive shows. Kids get a lot of negativity. Or they go on the lunch table. Now maybe they're sitting with a couple of friends, but the table next to them, maybe someone else is giving them negative feedback. The teacher just says, man, would you just put your hand down? You're just wiggling. You just sit down. All of a sudden, the kid may not be thinking he's doing anything wrong on purpose, but now all the other kids are laughing at him because the teacher just said to him. So teachers could have a negative influence. Testing. Maybe something happened in testing. Everyone's getting back their test results, and they've got a nice big check mark and a great job written out of it. He's got something negative out of it. So this testing where teachers are trying to evaluate kids, someone doesn't good on the test, all of a sudden now they start believing they're not as smart as the other kids. Maybe they're old enough to have a cell phone and now they're getting texting. It's really easy to be negative on texting. Parents, parents may just lose their temper and say something. Maybe parents are having a fight and they go, hey, you remind me of your stupid kid. And they could say anything within the shot of the child, and all of a sudden now it's more negative references. And siblings, because of rivalry between kids, not everything's going to be positive. So when you see this child and this child is trying to be positive, but he's growing up in a negative world, a lot of things are going against him. So what can we do when we get a broken child coming into our school? I happen to know this kid on the left of this child is David Lugo Silva. He just got some awards today. He feels that he is pretty smart. In fact, his teacher in school just recommended that he goes into a gifted program. So he's a pretty positive kid. The power you have as an instructor is you can be you're a super positive influence because you're a superhero. And I'm not saying a superhero to kind of blow up your ego, but you're not mom and dad talking. You're not just a school teacher. You're not just an aunt or uncle who's supposed to be happy and positive. You're a martial artist. You've done something a lot of other people haven't done. People look up to you. When the child's around you, people always calling you sir. So you have a huge influence because of your position to be a positive influence. What we want to do is we want to make sure, and I'm going to go back to this here. This is our table of beliefs. People have certain beliefs. Either they're smart, they're dumb, they're strong, they're weak because they have references. Something happened. Maybe they tripped, and the next time they're playing baseball, they struck out. Now they have a belief that they're not good at sports and they're uncoordinated. A belief is caused by references. The more legs on a table, the stronger the table of belief. So when we're trying to replace a positive belief with a negative belief, we have to build a strong table. So when we're talking about these things you can do, you can build a high influence table with even more positive references and experiences. So if someone has 5 references for a negative attitude, and we can give him 10 references for positive attitude, he's going to start believing a positive one more than a negative. One of the things we can do in your martial arts school is to start right off by having rules to follow and protocol. Because when they have rules to follow and protocol, kids know exactly what they should do. And when you compliment them on having being able to follow rules and having strong protocol, saying yes sir, no sir, bowing on the mat, yes sir, no sir to the parents. You have all these positive protocols. You can complement on those. Once you complement those, you get more and more of that. Now the teacher at school, maybe the aunt, maybe friends of the parents, are going to start seeing this child and go, wow, you're so polite. You're so respectful. You're so courteous to everyone. So we want to make sure we start with protocol. We also want to make sure we set boundaries. Kids have to be responsible for decisions that they make. So we have to have boundaries. We must have to stick to those boundaries. If you don't bow on the mat, we're going to talk to you about that, and you're going to be doing it again, but they have to be boundaries. Next thing, we want to be a good finder. See, part of martial arts and teaching martial arts is looking for mistakes, correcting mistakes, so we get people better at things. If you have a child do a push-up, you're probably going to say, well, your back's not straight, your butt's up in the air, you're not bending your arms, you're just bending your jaw. So we're thinking of all these things they're doing wrong. We didn't always look at, hey, I got to say, you've got a lot of self-confidence. When I say do a push-up, what a great attitude. You just got down there, you're ready. So we got to learn to become a good finder. Good finder in physical things, good finder in character, and using those a lot. When becoming a good finder, we catch the kid doing something good, we compliment on that, he feels good about himself. Of course, it's not done. This is a work in progress, so we become good finders over and over again. We have to praise progress. Kids try really, really hard. Your students try really, really hard. And they're always thinking, how am I doing? How am I doing? Well, if they're doing good and they're making progress, we got to remark about that. That's why we do stripe testing once a month, because we're actually doing an evaluation and rewarding students for good progress. That is a huge reference of a positivity in their lives. Again, we want to make sure we praise good behavior. When we find them doing something right as far as the protocol and the rules, we want to talk about that. If they get praise on rules and protocol, they're going to want to repeat that so they get the praise again. So we want to make sure we're not only looking for high skills in martial arts, but we're looking for improvement and progress in behavior. If we have the opportunity to highlight a student or to spotlight them. So highlighting would be like you have a group of students, they're all working real hard. The kids on the left side just seem a little bit stronger, and we stop class and go, hey guys, I got to tell you, this side of the room, I don't know what you had for breakfast, but you guys are supercharged. I mean, the yelling, I can see the veins coming out of your head, the sweat, you're doing fantastic. Those students feel really, really good. What happens to the other side? Yeah, right, they're going to try harder. So now we do more. Guys, man, everyone looks so sharp. So we have that friendly competition, and we highlight good progress. Or we can spotlight. Hey, everyone sit down. Everyone sit around. Jennifer, come up here. Jennifer, I was watching you, and that was probably the best chamber and roundhouse kick I've seen in a long time. Could you demonstrate to the class? So we find someone doing something really good. Again, we want to point out a good chamber, so we take Jennifer. We make a big thing out of Jennifer's progress. Everyone gives her 2 claps. So now she feels great, and you're also teaching the kids how to support and be positive by giving 2 claps to another student. When we do that 2 claps, it's all about teaching them to support each other. So if we have a class going and we're doing forms and they have 5 kids up to do a form, before they sit down, everyone's going to give them a clap, hands up, a good ovation. So we teach kids not to be negative towards each other. We're teaching kids in our class to support each other. We want to make sure we teach life skills through the Black Belt Excellence System. So each month we have a skill. It could be a positive attitude. It could be courage, but we're having a life skill we're talking about. We're setting a theme for the class, a physical theme for the class, and we're taking time at the end of the class to wrap it up with a good mat chat. So it's not just a physical part of martial arts. Yeah, we train real hard in the physical, but we take time at the end to tie everything together about why it's so important that we learn this. What did we experience it? It teaches us how to be more patient. It teaches us how to try harder. It teaches us to never, ever give up. The lessons that go around with the class. We want to make a culture of events and participation. A lot of times we talk about parents' night outs. We talk about events at the school, and they go, those are really, really cool, but it's a lot of work for my staff, but it's important. When kids belong to a social network, now they're part of the culture of the school, they feel that they belong. Once they feel that they belong, now they feel acceptance by other kids and other students. These are all references that they're doing something right and that they're popular. So you may have a child come into your school that feels they're alone all the time. All of a sudden, you talk him to come to parents' night outs. He starts getting a few friends. People going, hey, how you doing? Now he feels acceptance. That's a huge belief. It's a huge reference. Another thing we should be doing is setting time each week to send good job notes or I like because notes to kids. Kids love to get mail. Even if you just hand them the good job note, they love that. You post it up on your bulletin board. That type of recognition is so important. Again, the mat chats. And the mat chats aren't you just chatting with the students, but again, you're sharing your wisdom. It gives you a chance to highlight, talk to other kids, make good contact, build up trust. Again, build up your position as a leader. That superhero part of you. So make sure you're doing your mat chats. Graduations. We've kind of changed away from testing years ago, and now we go to graduations because it's all about that celebration. That celebration, hey, we worked really hard over the last several months. We achieved certain goals, not being recognized for it. We get a chance to perform in front of our parents, receive a standing ovation. Graduations just really, really build those positive references. We have a chance to have kids fail, but fail around us, not just failing in school or doing that when no one's going to support them, but they fail. Maybe they enter a school tournament and they lost their tournament. Maybe they get up to do the form and they forget it halfway through. Hey, that's okay. Failure is part of the experience. Don't be fearful of failure. Use the learning. Not everything just comes to us. Things we have to have that are valuable, we have to work for. So if you fail, that's okay. The important thing is to pick yourself up, keep working, and try again. So again, that's a huge part of your martial arts lessons, and it's easier for you to do it than have them just to experience that out on the baseball field where 10 kids are laughing at them. So you want to make sure that they do experience failure. In fact, we hope for those failure experiences so we can build a child from the inside out. And again, through all this time, building trust. So when we're talking to the child, they trust us. They know we're not just saying something just to say it, but we're influential. We love them. They trust us. And it's all that power you have as an instructor. So these are just a series of, I didn't count them, maybe 20 ideas that you can use or that you can train your staff with so you get better results on teaching these life skills and changing the beliefs in these broken kids. Now, when kids get a black belt, it's time for them to celebrate, but it's also time for you to celebrate. It's not easy getting a student from white belt to black belt. Approximately 90 to 95% of students will drop out before they get black belt. Hopefully all our clients and people that are in our circle of influence get better and better at that. When a child gets a black belt, that's the time to say, man, I did a good job. This child is now ready to go out, make some changes, do better in school, have better relationships, do better in college, have a better career. So I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. When someone gets a black belt, I know they did all the work, but it also means that you did your job well. I hope you kind of enjoyed this. Hope you got some ideas either for yourself or training your staff, maybe some life lessons or messages that you can write and share with the parents also. Congratulations on being a martial arts instructor. You definitely are an influence and a change maker.